Welcome back to Rams Up, your favorite LA Rams podcast. We are part of the Fans First Sports Network. You can follow us on our YouTube channel as well at LA Rams Up. I'm your host, Mark. I'll be joined occasionally by my football gurus, Paul and Ian. Let's get to it. What's going on, Ram fans? Some final notes before the Rams-Jets game Sunday morning. Before we get to that, episode 614, 100 or 200 episodes ago, we talked about Jeff Wilkins, the Rams' great kicker. This episode, talk about another number 14 real quickly. Digging through the archives, I stumbled across this guy. He was a pretty good receiver, Wendell Tucker. Played for the Rams from 1967 to 1970. He was a burner. Came out of South Carolina State, 5'10", 185 pounds. He went undrafted and then joined the Kansas City Chiefs of the American Football League. Spent a year there on, well, they called it the taxi squad back then. And then in 1967, the Rams signed him. Appeared as a punt return specialist in 7 games for the Rams that first year. In 1969, he became the starting flanker opposite of the great Jack Snow. Caught 38 passes for 629 yards and 7 touchdowns, including a 93-yarder against the San Francisco 49ers. I'm starting to like this guy. Rams won the Coastal Division that year, by the way. His production dropped off the following year, 12 receptions for 230 yards, had a knee injury he was trying to work through, and then he was traded along with Billy Truex to the Dallas Cowboys in return for wide receiver Lance Rensel. Finished his NFL career, all these stats with the Rams, 57 catches, 983 yards, and 11 touchdowns. Speed burner Wendell Tucker, our number 14 for the Los Angeles Rams. Let's get to this Rams-Jets game. Final injury report. You don't see this very often. No designations, questionable or otherwise, for our Los Angeles Rams. 5 guys we are kind of monitoring. Jordan Whittington will play, as will Davis Allen, DeMarcus Robinson, Kobe Durant, and Tyler Higbee. Sat out at least one practice for an illness. Now, 4 tight ends, I imagine one of them will be inactive. Candidate's probably Davis Allen. For the 4 and 10 at New York Jets, cornerback Michael Carter has been ruled out. Questionable running back Braylon Allen. Defensive tackle Quinion Williams. It'd be a big deal if he can't go. Offensive lineman Elijah Vera Tucker, he's out of USC. And defensive tackle Leki Fotu. Bunch of other guys will play. Rookie running back Isaiah Davis, offensive lineman Morgan Moses, linebacker Quincy Williams. He is a key to their defense. He's really good. Offensive lineman Xavier Newman and cornerback DJ Reed. They will all play. Reed possibly outplaying Sauce Gardner this year. Let's check AccuWeather for a report here. Game time, it should be 25 degrees. A wind out of the northwest at 16 miles per hour with gusts to 30 miles per hour. That could be an issue for both quarterbacks. It'll warm up 2 degrees by halftime, I'd say, and then it'll cool off to around 25 by the end of the game. That wind will be pretty consistent, 15 miles an hour-ish, with gusts 25 to 30 miles per hour. So not the best conditions for football. Definitely need to be successful on the ground here. Hey, I'm going to share with you 4 things, my fearsome 4 things that I'm going to predict are going to happen in this game. 4 things to look for in this Rams-Jets game. First thing that's going to happen is Tyler Higbee is going to get a touch on the Rams' first possession. They're going to get him the ball early, and that'll be a really emotional moment for our Los Angeles Rams. And you know what? I could be dead wrong. He may not see any action at all. He may not even be active, but I think he will be. And if he is, he's going to get a touch real early in the game. The second thing that I am predicting is there's going to be a handful of turnovers in this game due to the weather we already talked about. Hopefully the ball bounces our way. Hopefully these turnovers are Aaron Rodgers throwing picks, but ball's going to be on the ground a little bit, I think, and the ball's going to be flying all over the field as icy and windy as it is. Both teams are probably going to try to keep the ball on the ground more, which makes perfect sense. So maybe these turnovers will manifest themselves in fumbles more than interceptions. The third thing I am predicting is Kyron Williams is going to be the difference maker in this game. Hey, he played in the cold at Notre Dame, grew up in St. Louis. He knows cold weather. This is not going to be a big deal for him, and he is going to crush it. And the fourth thing I am predicting is this game's going to go the Rams' way, but don't expect it to be decided early. I think early in the fourth quarter, the outcome is still going to be in doubt. Rams will pull away and win it, but don't expect it to be a relaxing, fun, easy win for our Rams. How often does that happen anyways, right? Does it ever happen? But Rams win this game, but we'll be on our toes a little bit. It'll be a little stressful early in the fourth quarter before the Rams nail this down. Hey, before we get out of here, I want to share some thoughts on what has happened Thursday through Saturday night. College football and the NFL. First of all, college football. Maybe this 12-team playoff isn't such a good idea. A bunch of horrible games, as Lance Kiffin was pointing out, going off because his Ole Miss team was excluded, and they probably would have put up a better fight than some of these teams that got clobbered this first round of the playoffs. But I don't know what the solution is. Maybe the elite teams are just too elite for the rest of them. Maybe it should be, I don't know, maybe 8 teams, no buys. That would make more sense to me. But I have a feeling it's going to go in the other direction. They're going to add more teams, and maybe that first round will be a little bit more interesting, but maybe then the second round won't be. Now, some impactful results. So far, 3 games have been played in the NFL. The Chargers putting up some points, coming back and beating the Broncos. And what does that mean? Well, what it really means is AFC playoff teams are pretty much set. These 2 teams are both going to make it. And if the Chargers had lost, they would have been maybe just a little bit nervous about their prospects. And then the Chiefs took care of the Texans, but the bigger takeaway was Tank Dell, horrible injury, and he'll be done, right? Really a bummer for him, such a dynamic wide receiver, and that's going to have an impact on the rest of the year. Obviously, it's going to hurt the Texans, but it's also going to help the Ravens. And I hate to look at it this way, but it's just the truth. The Steelers fall to the Ravens, so they're deadlocked, although the Steelers are technically in first place, but the Steelers' remaining schedule, the Chiefs and the Bengals, while the Ravens get the Texans without Tank Dell. I know it's just one player, but then they play the Browns after that. So I've been saying this for several weeks. Ravens are going to win the AFC North. That's my prediction. And what's it going to do to my power rankings? Well, the Chiefs will stay at the top. The Ravens may jump up from number 7, where I currently have them. See what happens with the Vikings and Packers. Could jump over them. The Steelers, my number 8 team, they will probably fall. And the Broncos and Chargers, at a minimum, I'll flip them. Last week it was Broncos 9, Chargers 10. Steelers actually may fall below both of them, in my opinion. Very good chance we'll have a Chargers-Steelers playoff game back in Pittsburgh. Remember, the Steelers beat them earlier in the year, but that was the game Herbert got hurt, and after he left, it was kind of all over. And then I had the Texans at number 11, and, maybe I was too tough on my Rams. If they beat the Jets and the Bucs win, maybe the Rams jump over the Bucs and the Texans into that number 11 slot. We'll have to see. Rams got to win, though. That's the first thing that we need to happen, of course. But who really cares about power rankings? It's just about getting to the playoffs, but they kind of go hand in hand. If the Rams get to the playoffs, they're going to be in my top 10 in my final power rankings for sure. But man, this game against the Cardinals, that's going to be the big one. Rams-Cardinals Saturday night. Regardless of what happens against the Jets on Sunday morning, Rams are going to have to beat the Cardinals. That's my pregame pulse. And hey, wanted to give a shout out to Rutgers on behalf of Paul, just because it's the end of the semester and he has ties to that school. I could give a shout out to probably about 300 schools for that matter, but shout out to Rutgers on Paul's behalf out here from Rams Up. That's going to do it for this episode. Remember, you can reach us at ramsuppodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget about our YouTube channel. Our handle is at laramsup.com. Till next time, keep the horns up, stay safe, and have fun out there.